Welcome to the University of Maryland, a four-year institution that is known for its impeccable research, wide array of majors, and students who have exceptional ability and promise for the future. On a given day, there are 37,610 students enrolled in classes at the University of Maryland College Park. These classes that the students are attending cover material on about 90 different majors. And these 90 majors all fit into 10 different schools within the university and have their own separate requirements for students to strive towards in the pursuit of a degree. So how are these 37,610 students of different interests and abilities connected? What is an experience that is not overlooked regardless of who you are? Academic advising. All of these students are connected by the shared experience of having to undergo academic advising. However, no one school does it in the same way. There is no universal standard for advising, so how do we know how impactful these experiences can be for students if there is no standard that we can use as measurement?
The problem analyzed by our group is that the University of Maryland Advising Service is an underutilized service. According to our data analysis, students are fairly satisfied with the university advising system, even though most of them only seek advising assistance once per semester. The question that arises is, are students really satisfied with the university advising service, or are they just happy with the advising status quo? It is extremely important for students to understand that by not seeing their advisor, they're not getting the full benefits of a service they're paying for through the college tuition. Students need to also keep in mind that if they fulfill their responsibilities as students, the university advising service can be extremely helpful in their educational and career planning.
In order to make a positive change in the advising departments at Maryland, we would need the help of academic advisors, students, and other career service professionals. If all of these groups work together, we can find a way to maximize the advising resources for the student body. It starts with advisors taking a role where they have more of an initiating structure and are production-oriented. They will make decisions that define a structure and role for him or herself and the students and faculty around them. This way, the students will get what they need out of the advisors instead of the advisors just trying to minimize time spent with students, which would be more of an employee-oriented behavior.
Over the course of the semester, we have had the opportunity to meet with 4 different advisors from 3 different departments. These include 2 Robert H. Smith School of Business advisors, 1 Letters and Sciences and Athletic advisor, and 1 advisor from the Philip Merrill College of Journalism. From these interviews, we were able to draw some conclusions. Conclusions we have drawn from our specific interviews include advisors are satisfied with their current systems. These systems are different among the different schools we were able to interview. However, advisors also think that they could implement a stronger focus on career development for each individual student. Advisors feel that 30 minutes or less a semester is enough for potential advising meetings with students. However, some students are not even required to meet with their advisor once a semester, or even once a year. Advisors feel that students don't need to be pushed to go to advising or prompted on what they could need advising for. They feel that students can take initiative and approach them about any potential problems they could have or need for future success at the University of Maryland.
Based on our interviews with advisors, most of them seem to be pretty satisfied with their experiences, but believe they need more help in terms of numbers. This is most likely due to the bias that they like the job they have as an advisor, but believe they can't do their job to the best of their abilities given the amount of students they're responsible for. This is potentially the reason for the type of leadership behaviors that we see in our advisors. They become employee, or in this case, student-oriented. They complete the bare minimum requirements with each student since they have so many. So, if there were more advisors to break up the workload, each advisor could build a better relationship with their students and become more production-oriented.
We collected the data from a total of 45 students, who come from 24 different majors. 66% of the students who took the surveys are not transferred students. Most of them are sophomore, junior, and seniors. Only one of them is freshman. According to the data from student surveys, majority of the students at the University of Maryland are satisfied with their current overall advising experience. Most of the students valued the academic advising system through their experiences with their assigned advisors. Approximately half of the students are satisfied with their current requirements for their major for advising, and most of the students only meet with their advisor once. Overall, students prefer to gain information from their academic advisors, and their overall experiences with advisors are pretty well. One interesting thing is that some of them never meet with their advisor, but also rate their overall advising experiences as being satisfactory. So how does the data relate towards what we learn in class and towards our particular project? Perception is a process in which individuals interpret inputs in order to give meaning to their environment. The data shows that students' perceptions are influenced by their first experience of the advising system, including what advisors they are in contact with and the quality of advice they receive. From this data, we can conclude that perceptions cause biases, both positive and negative, among different students. Some potential biases we have seen include selective perception, because our attitudes determine how we want to view advising, and also stereotyping, because all advisors are the same. And finally, fundamental attribution error, because not hearing what we want means advisors are not doing their jobs. There are many ways to reduce these biases. First of all, being goal-focused by going into further advising with a plan and prepared, and also increase your options by getting multiple advisor opinions on an issue and be willing to communicate your needs. And finally, look for information that confirms your beliefs by talking to advisors about the services they offer and why their job is meaningful to them before deciding that they do not care.
After analyzing the data and seeing the difference in perspectives between students and advisors, action research will help reduce resistance to change within the advising department. Resistance from the advisors is expected because they are set in their ways. Changes can be made within one advising department. Once advisors see the positive outcome, they will be less resistant to the change. Because it can be difficult for advisors to put themselves in the student's shoes, student ambassadors can be used to improve the advising program. Ambassadors will speak directly with the students and filter the information for the advisors. This ensures the advisors will only be addressed with the more important issues. Changing the advising system will require leadership from within the different colleges. An advising leader who is authoritative and can balance being both people and task-oriented. This is important because they will need to be comfortable voicing changes to the advising systems established and be comfortable explaining how the benefits will outweigh the costs to the people who are most resistant to change. From the interviews, surveys, and secondary research we have conducted, we can conclude that the advising system is complicated and will take a lot of work to be changed. Even though students are satisfied, a lot of the time they lack understanding of the purpose of advising. Without a universal standard, students will not have a clear understanding of the service they are paying for, a service that can dramatically impact their future.
So what if no changes take place to the advising system? Well, nothing really. What we have learned through our interviews is that ignorance is bliss. Many students do not utilize the advising system, so they do not really have a positive or negative opinion of it. Many students also are unsure of what they want out of an advisor, and some don't want anything at all. The advising system is factored into each student's tuition, so they are paying for this service whether they use it or not. So in the end, if nothing changes to the system, then nothing negative will happen.